Hi, it's Jeff Zito. Thanks again for checking out another episode of the Celebrity Jobber podcast. We're gaining on 200 episodes here, almost at 200 episodes, which is almost 4 years old, which is unbelievable. We've started this podcast almost 4 years ago with little success in the beginning, which is expected. And then everything changed with episode 10, REO Speedwagon's Kevin Cronin. Talked about before REO Speedwagon selling shoes to women in the mall and then working as a cab driver when he got the call to be the lead singer of REO Speedwagon. That episode ended up on a lot of REO Speedwagon fan sites, and within a couple of weeks, the episode garnered about 2 million downloads. And with that, the Celebrity Jobber podcast kind of entered a new stratosphere where we are consistently in the top 5 on the Apple Podcast Music Interviews chart. So thank you so much. I ask you to please subscribe, whether you listen on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Wherever you listen, please subscribe. We're streaming on all the platforms. And if you could, leave a comment/review. Would love a 5-star rating. That all helps with the algorithm and getting the Celebrity Jobber podcast out there for people to discover. And like I said, a lot of content up there, almost 200 episodes right now. You can go back and listen to all of them. You know, just search Celebrity Jobber on Apple Podcast or Spotify, or you can go to celebrityjobber.com. You know, find an old episode, hit play, and boom, there's over 65 hours of content. So the perfect companion when you're taking a long road trip. So anyway, what are we doing here? What are we talking about? Celebrities and what their life was before they got famous and their big break, how the fame kind of happened. Sometimes it was gradual over the years, and sometimes it was just one phone call, one moment, one lucky break. You know, and sometimes it's that one lucky break that separates you from a regular person with a regular job to a very well-known famous person. And for my guest today, I'm sure celebrity really wasn't in the cards for Dr. Sandra Lee. You know, if you go into the medical field, I don't really think that you have any kind of desire or ambition to become famous. For Dr. Sandra Lee, aka Dr. Pimple Popper, she is probably the most famous dermatologist in the country. You know, I don't care who you are, okay? But if you're on YouTube and you come across a video of somebody popping a zit or a boil or a cyst, it's got millions and millions of views. People are enamored with popping zits, even though maybe in a public setting, if you talked about it, they'd go, ew, gross. Maybe you think it's gross, but a lot of you like to watch that stuff, including me. And sometimes I even joke about it when I got a big zit on my back. I'll tell my wife, get the camera out, zoom in on it, and go ahead and squeeze it and see if we can post it to YouTube and become millionaires. I mean, it's crazy, but it happens. I know that's the case for Dr. Sandra Lee, aka Dr. Pimple Popper. So who is she? What did she aspire to do or be when she was younger? How did she get into this whole pimple popping industry? And how did she end up having a show about it? We're also going to talk about something very personal that Dr. Lee has been going through that I'm not too sure a lot of people out there are aware of. Her YouTube channel has over 3 million followers. She calls Popaholics. And her show's been on Lifetime since 2015, promoting Lifetime's Dr. Pimple Popper Breaking Out Season 2. Dr. Sandra Lee is Dr. Pimple Popper, and my guest this week on Celebrity Jobber.
The Celebrity Jobber podcast with Jeff Zito. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, give a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Check out all our past episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. What if these celebrities weren't famous? What would they have become? What was their first job? We're about to find out.
Dr. Lee.
Hello, Jeff. How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm good. My husband's name is Jeff, so I hope I don't yell at you.
Oh, I hope not either. What is Jeff? Jeff doesn't do anything to make you upset, does he, around the house or no?
Never.
How long
I'd say he's the best when he's sleeping.
How long have you been married for?
26 years. We just had our 26-year anniversary.
Excellent. Congratulations. That's so
thank
cool.
you.
Well, I've got to tell you, Sandra, it's so fun to watch the show, the videos. And when you were younger, did you ever dream that this would be your life?
Heck no. No way. I mean, I would not think that I would go to Italy and people would yell for me and they would say, Doctoressa Schiacciabusoli, because that's Dr. Pimple Popper in Italian. Like, that's crazy to me.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is nuts. And to have that kind of name too, that I'm not a pimple popper myself, actually, as a dermatologist. So it is really quite amazing, but I am really blessed. I really feel really lucky that I get to showcase dermatology and really what we do as dermatologists, and also get to help all these patients and get to see it and get to watch it back.
So what did you think you wanted to be when you were younger? Tell me about growing up. Tell me about, when you were in school. Were you athletic? Were you a good student? Tell me a little bit about the younger Sandra Lee.
I was not athletic. I cannot jump, but I mean, I have like stamina. I could like do something for a long time. I'm not like a dunce. I can I can play golf. I can do things like that,
Right.
But I'm not like a high jumper or anything.
Okay.
I was not that great of a student, I would say.
Really?
My thought was I wasn't really like geared like my kids right now. They're like always thinking I got to have a job. I have to have a summer job, an internship. I was like, what am I going to eat and what am I going to wear tomorrow?
Right.
Like what I was thinking,
Okay.
And I just think that I did like the 5-year plan at UCLA. I did it. I took my time but my dad's a dermatologist and I really kind of grew up around dermatology. I just always kind of had it around. I would go to my dad's office in the summer when I was a kid and like file charts and things like that.
Okay.
So I just think that I had that world in my mind. I know that I like to work with my hands. And so I just think it became like, you know what it was? It was that when I got into medical school because I decided I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just decided to continue schooling. And then that's where I found out really how hard it was to become a dermatologist.
Right.
And I think with me, like when somebody tells me it's really hard, you might not be able to do it, it kind of makes me want to try.
Right.
So I think that's just what happened. And then I became a type AAA personality. I don't know what happened there.
Right.
And then now I have this TV show and I have like a million different jobs.
It's crazy.
That kind of thing.
It's so crazy. And so I find this interesting. So you're kind of exposed to dermatology. Your dad's in the business. So you worked with him when you were younger. Can you tell me, was that your first job working with your dad in his dermatology firm? Or can you tell me about some of your earlier jobs, your very first job?
Sure. I'll tell you about my job. I was probably underage at that time. They're just trying to keep me out of trouble. So, I'm sure that like in this day and age, you're not allowed to work like at that young age. I was probably like, I don't know, maybe like 11 or 12 or something like that. I don't know. I don't even know exactly. But then I remember when I was at UCLA, I decided to get jobs as medical assistant. I worked for an allergist, and I remember my job was to go into patient rooms and bring a Kleenex and tell them to hawk a loogie into the Kleenex. And then I would smear that on a slide and then count the white blood cells. That was my job. And also my job was to do allergy shots. So I got a job, when I was like 18, injecting shots into people's arms, for allergies. And that's what I did. I was like a little medical assistant, and those were really my jobs until I went to medical school. I didn't finish school until I was 34.
Really?
So it's a long road when you go to medical school and you take a 5-year plan in college. And, residency, and then I did a fellowship. So by that time, I was 34.
So you were always into medicine, Sandra. There was you never worked at the mall or, thought about anything else. This is really where your focus was from the time you were younger.
Yeah, even a restaurant. I never waitressed. I think that I I feel like that would be something that honestly I think I would like to do because I like multitasking and like trying to juggle a lot of different things at one time. But I do think that I was just really lucky to find dermatology. I think that my dad and I have the same sort of sensibilities, the same personalities, and I knew he liked to work with his hands, as do I. And I think that dermatology, I think that my dad being a dermatologist also helped me to become a better dermatologist because a lot of my patients that I took over from him, they would say, I know your dad and I love your dad.
Right.
And so for me, it made me like, oh, I got to make sure that you like me just as much.
Right.
So I think that helped me to develop my bedside manner to make sure that people liked me. And I think that that is just as important, really, as your surgical.
I agree.
As my surgical
I
skill.
agree.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito.
When did your focus become poppin' zits? Because I know there's a lot of different things that you do when you go to the dermatologist office, and there's skin cancer, there's all of these different things, but the Dr. Pimple Popper, did you just start putting videos up on YouTube? Did you know that got a reaction, and did that lead to the TV show? Kind of tell me how that all happened.
That is exactly what happened. I mean, I think, well, for me, I do not remove, before Pimple Popper, before DPP, as I said, I did not remove cysts. I did not remove lipomas. I did not squeeze out blackheads. I maybe did like a handful in the entire year.
Right.
As most dermatologists do, because they're not medically necessary really to remove. But then I just started to post on social media, and it was early on, but I had enough followers to sort of see this. It was like I got a big jump when I posted a blackhead extraction. And I was like, what the heck is this? And so I had people comment on it saying, you might want to check out the subreddit popping. And I was like, what are they talking about? I didn't even know what Reddit was. And I went on Reddit, and then I discovered there was like a group of 50,000 people that were sharing popping videos with each other. I was like, what is happening here? I didn't even know that this is the thing. And they were they were their own pictures, like, squeezing one in the mirror, or like being at the beach, like dogs are barking and beer cans all around. There's some paper towels and stuff.
Right.
And I'm thinking, this is barbarian, and I can show them what we do. And so I started to post, and that's actually how I got my name, because I was posting there. I didn't know what Reddit was, but I did see that nobody used their real name. So I thought, what kind of name can I use?
Right.
And I just thought of Dr. Pimple Popper.
Oh, man.
That's really where it grew. And then from there came a television show, which is nuts.
Nuts. So, like, can you describe, like, a big break? I'm sure you were, like, very successful in your practice, but the TV show had to, open up a whole new, not only a revenue stream, because now you're a TV star, but there's got to be people. And I know there is, because I watch the show. There's people from all over the country that watch the show and say, hey, man, I got this weird thing on my neck, and I wanted to come and see you. So I'm sure it advertised for your business. Can you kind of tell me, how did that phone call, or the big break happen where somebody calls you and says, hey, I got an idea for a TV show about you popping zits?
Well, I think what happened, I would say one of the big breaks for me was earlier on when I was just on social media. I started to post on Instagram. I started to post on YouTube. I got like 1 million followers pretty quickly on YouTube. And then one day, BuzzFeed, it was like 10 years ago, picked me up and did like a reaction video. And my phone still had notifications on my Instagram anytime somebody like followed me. My phone was flipping out. Like, I couldn't even get onto my phone because it was just flipping, like people like liking, following. And I thought it was crazy. And I actually it was a blackhead extraction video. And so I went home, I went to dinner with my parents' house, and my dad's dermatologist, he said, so anything happened? Anything's going on? And I said, Dad, I had a video that went viral. And he was like, what are you talking about?
Right. He didn't get that.
And
right.
I'm like, yeah. And he's like, he knows what viral is, but he's like, what was the video on? And I said, it was on blackhead extractions. And he was like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Right.
He thought it was ridiculous. So it was really pretty funny. And because he's a dermatologist too, he's like, what the heck happened? So that was really funny. And I think that it just became a thing on YouTube that people could not ignore, really. They saw it. They responded to it, whether it be very positive or very negative. And I think that it caught the attention of production companies because they were trying to find other kind of shows it was really kind of the start of all those reality shows in that way. So they kind of started to come talk to me. I really initially wasn't that interested because I kind of had my plate was full. I had a lot of things going on social media, but then I decided to do it because I was like, this is a big chance that I have here.
Yes.
And here I am.
Here we are.
10 seasons later, really.
That's crazy. Any apprehension, Sandra? Like maybe because like, you and Jeff have a private life that people don't know about, and you probably didn't want any to let everybody inside. So tell me a little bit about the apprehension.
I was really protective of my patients.
Okay. Okay.
I was really protective of my patients. I was scared that they were going to make me into this crazy, all the reality shows are like about drama and people freaking out and flipping out on each other and then marriages ending and things like that. So I was really scared about doing this, but I really took a chance, and thankfully, I'm not the drama on the show, at least not until this season, but I'm not the drama. It's the patients that are the drama. And the opposite thing happens. We don't create more drama. We try to get rid of the drama. And so that's why it works. That's like sort of the secret sauce. And it makes people feel good. The people that they like to see the things that we do to help other people, because all of us know what it feels like to feel ostracized or different than everybody else or embarrassed of something.
I had a wart on my nose when I was a very young kid. And this girl, Kim Myers, used to pick on me, call me a witch. And I pushed her off the slide, by the way, and I didn't feel bad about it. But my father's friend was Dr. Qualter. He called the pimple on my nose a nogginot. I don't know why I don't even know why they made up some name when I was a little kid, and I remember getting it frozen off, and it was kind of a big thing for me because people would call me a witch. I was a little kid. I was 8 years old, and so I kind of remember that moment that I got it, frozen off, and how my life changed because it was the focal point every time I would meet somebody new. They'd be like, "Ooh, you got a wart on your nose. You're like a witch." So I understand exactly what you mean. You're changing lives. Now, what you just said was important. You said you're not the focus until this season, Lifetime's Dr. Pimple Popper breaking out season 2. Why are you the focus of this season?
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. Celebrity Jobber.
This season, Lifetime's Dr. Pimple Popper breaking out season 2. Why are you the focus of this season?
Well, because when we were taping, halfway through the season of taping the patients, I got a stroke. And it happened during taping of the show.
Wow.
And so that was a very big deal, obviously. It was very scary. And I kind of had us halt production through the end of the year. This happened like in November. And we kind of stopped production at that point for me to recover. Thankfully, I'm doing really well. I mean, I'm 6 months out.
Great.
And I'm very thankful to the production company and the network for kind of being patient with me so that I could get better. But it was very scary. And I think that sort of, this is the most personal I've ever gotten. I really don't talk about my own personal life or my kids. I have grown kids and I don't talk about them on the show either. And I think that though, it's important for me to talk about this now because I think that when this became public, there are a lot of people, my own friends, in fact, that come up and say, I've had symptoms like that. And they've ignored them or they've, because they've gotten better. But like, these are really important symptoms And there's an acronym, Be Fast, which is really important for people to know and look up if you have signs of a stroke, weakness on one side and trouble speaking and like facial droop and things like that. Those are all really important because timing is really important. If you recognize these symptoms, you need to get to a hospital or you need to call 911 within the first 4 hours because there are life-saving blood clot busting treatments that you can get, but only within this window. Right. And for me, I missed that window because I ignored the symptoms. I was tired. It was happening at night. Like you don't want to go to the ER in the middle of the night, that kind of thing.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a big deal. It was very scary. It really made me sit back and sort of analyze, you start analyzing your whole life. Really.
Sure.
I've never really been confronted with something like that.
Wow. Powerful.
So yeah, it's been tough, but thankfully I can talk about it because I am getting better. So
I'm so glad to hear that. That's great.
Thank you.
That's great. And just quickly, I know we got to wrap, but what do you and Jeff, your husband, do when you're not on camera popping zits?
I'm
what are your
posting and making videos.
Any passions though?
Well, my husband will love me to go back and play golf. I used to play golf a lot.
I love to play golf.
Yes, before I used to play on women's team, and I have 2 hole-in-ones and an eagle. I'm very proud of that.
Congrats!
And he doesn't have any, but he is a better golfer than I am. So, that shows you that it's a lot of luck.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm a 5 handicap. I'm 51 years old.
Yeah.
I played my whole life, no hole-in-ones. But I did get an eagle a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah. Well, fantastic. Yeah. But those make your day. Those are what keep you going back. But good days. But golf is so much like life. It's so crazy.
Sure is.
It's a tough game. And I know he would like me to get back on it. So here I am saying publicly that I'm going to, when my show slows down, I'm going to be playing much, much.
Oh, man. Lifetime's Dr. Pimple Popper breaking out season 2, Dr. Sandra Lee. A pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And I hope for full recovery in the very near future.
Thank you, Jeff. I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Dr. Pimple Popper breaking out season 2, 9 p.m. Monday nights on Lifetime. So I have a correction to make. I initially said Dr. Lee, Dr. Pimple Popper is probably the most famous dermatologist in the country. Wrong. She's talking about a story where she's in Italy and they're calling her Dr. Pimple Popper in Italian. They know who she is there. This show is a worldwide phenomenon. And again, it focuses on poppin' zits, which people, I guess, just love watching videos of zit popping. And I guess that's where it all started for Dr. Sandra Lee. She talked about growing up around dermatology. Her father's a dermatologist. It was her first job. She was in the medical field. I forgot her very first job. I think she worked for, an allergist, and she grabbed Kleenexes that people hocked loogies in and then counted blood cells. And so it's always been in the medical field. She grew up a dermatologist's daughter, never had a job at the mall or at the movie theater or selling newspapers, always in the medical field, which I found interesting. And let me say this too. A lot of you may be in that position right now where your father, your mother, your family have a particular business and you're like, I don't want to go into that business. It's boring. I want to do my own thing. Well, here's a situation where Dr. Sandra Lee went into the quote unquote family business, went into the medical field just like her dad. But what she did with it definitely put her own spin on this career, which now she has so many different jobs, so many different revenue streams from being a dermatologist, which doesn't really focus on popping zits. There's so much other things that she has to do. But when she mentioned how she put this video up about a blackhead extraction and the response, she knew it was huge. And then here we are. She got her own show on Lifetime. It's all from posting these blackhead extractions on YouTube. Like, she was already having a pretty successful run in her dermatology business. She said she didn't get out of medical school until 34 years old. And she's having a pretty successful run at being a dermatologist. Then she started posting the videos on YouTube, and she said her phone just exploded. And that led to a phone call from somebody that thought her content was interesting to where they could have a successful TV show. And that's how it happened. Dr. Sandra Lee was successful before she was Dr. Pimple Popper, but I mean, we're talking about a whole new level here. And she seems very genuine when she says she loves helping people that have something they're not comfortable with. I told her the story about me having a wart on my nose. When I was a little kid, I used to get picked on. They'd call me a witch, but it did hurt my feelings when I was a young kid, being picked on for a wart on my nose. And my dad's friend, who is a dermatologist, Dr. Qualter, froze it off. Ever since I got that taken care of, didn't get picked on anymore, wasn't self-conscious anymore. So I can definitely relate to people who want to see a dermatologist. I mean, it could be very life-changing. So Dr. Lee is very genuine when she says she wants to help people feel good about themselves. And the focus is on them until this season on Lifetime's Dr. Pimple Popper Breaking Out, where production halted back in November because Dr. Lee had a stroke. And she talks about this on camera and is recovering on camera. And the shift is focused from her patients to her. And kind of personal, right? Once again, Monday nights, 9 p.m. on Lifetime, and then streams the following day on Lifetime. You don't really think about becoming famous or becoming a celebrity by getting into the medical field, but that's exactly what happened to Dr. Sandra Lee. Dr. Pimple Popper. She's been doing this for over 10 years now. And just a lesson to other people that don't want to follow their parents into the family business. Dr. Sandra Lee did, and look what she turned it into. So many stories like this on the Celebrity Jobber podcast. You can follow on Instagram, celebrity_jobber_podcast. You can also check out all the videos that we have on youtube.com/the@celebrityjobber, and more content is on Substack, which is substack.com/celebrityjobber. Past guests and episodes online at celebrityjobber.com. And please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review/comment, and would love a 5-star rating. Please, thank you so much. It really helps for other people to discover the Celebrity Jobber podcast. So thank you once again for listening. And until next week, we'll see you then. I'm Jeff Zito.